your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and sound.
And with that, I will welcome you once again here to the CE Autumn Split. It's going to be an amazing day tonight as well, because we have a great opportunity coming right at us with, obviously, two very good teams and obviously some new faces as well. So J-Wheel and Mr. Oak, I'll introduce you first since you're new. Hope you're doing fine today, and we'll wish you a wonderful cast today on your first premiere here on CE. And as always, casters, how are you feeling today?
I mean, I'm excited to cast today. I think, it's going to be good to have my debut cast with these teams today, especially because it's such an important place for them in the standings. So,
yeah, indeed, it's definitely going to be a bit of a banger, and both these teams have put up some explosive gameplay. So I'm looking to see which one pops, which one drops, as we are going to be coming through with this cast. And yeah, it's been a good day. It's been sunny outside, it's been warm weather, so let's heat things up in the evening as well.
Yeah, and I think obviously second day of week 3 now. We're kind of, especially with how Method to Madness, as we get into it eventually, we'll see how they've decided to swap things up. Seeing how they swap things up and how they're in the position right now where they need to do a clean 2-0 to move up in the standings. There's a lot of pressure on them to perform. So I'm excited to see how both of these teams perform tonight.
Yeah, indeed, and there's, as you said, a lot to go for. We've seen Method to Madness in previous seasons as well. They did the mini, and I believe they came second. Hopefully, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But they were looking really strong before. Admittedly, a lot of changes tonight, but we will go through that in a little bit.
Yeah, I think the big things to be looking out for alongside that is there have been a lot of role swaps as well. So I think the list up when we saw it was that we've got Yoft moving into top lane. Janortis is still in jungle. Their top lane is going to mid, so Arnax will be playing mid lane. Their mid lane is moving into AD carry, but the support is also staying the same as well. So huge role swaps from that team. And as mentioned, they're in 5th place right now. They're looking to get the clean 2-0 today so they can advance in standings. So let's hope the role swaps play out, I guess.
Yeah, because it's definitely a little bit crazy. I have never seen this before. Like, admittedly, I don't play in any leagues myself, but to having your decision to swap like 3 of your laners around seems a little bit mad. I'm a jungle main myself. If someone was like, yo, you got to play some top lane or mid today, that's not going to go well.
Yeah, I think the lane swaps themselves are fine, right? But it's the fact that some of them, like we got jungles are potentially rotating out, which I can't remember. Sorry, but if it is, that's going to be a big issue. Also, mid swapping to AD as well. It's like, it's a carry role, but there's a lot of different ways that laning phase goes through. Another thing to note, obviously, patches ever changing. A couple of champions have been moving back up into the spotlight and moving out and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see which champions, Comfort's going to be so important. That is so bright. I'm so sorry. Which champions are going to be Comfort for these players? I haven't actually got enough time to really see these players yet, so I'm excited to see what they're going to be picking. And we've gone straight into bans here. So we're seeing Jace taken away from blue side, and Kayn, and it looks like Katarina taken away from red side as well. I think these are obviously target bans. I think Jace was really good as like this kind of opening pick into blue side because it does do quite well with a lot of different comps, and I think a lot of pro players right now, they're loving this pick. In the lower levels, I mean, like, you know, even here in D1, that champion's gonna be really monstrous if you can pilot it properly. And then these bans are going so quickly.
Yeah, they are indeed. It's going to be the Thresh, the Amumu, and the Viego all taken away. Amumu obviously having a bit of a rise in popularity. Viego being pretty much the #1 jungle pick in the meta. And I will say, when I'm going into this game, I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a solo queue vibe here. Not because the teams aren't coordinated, but they can play through every lane. So we've seen picks where they've gone 3 carries, both top, mid, and ADC. We've seen some jungle carries. So realistically, anything could go in this matchup, and I won't really be surprised by much, but Talon is going to be the first lock-in.
And, you know, well, I mean, that's solo queue in a nutshell, right? I think I am surprised to see this champion picked. It's obviously must be a clear comfort because I feel like there's other champions that perform the role very similarly and also have a lot more utility. I think Kiana's been a key champion recently. Oh my god, these hovers are great. Jarvan locked in as a counter, really safe jungler to be picking right now. I don't know if it's considered high tier, but that recent buff to his W in the past couple of patches is definitely going to help him when he's doing early duels, skirmishes, stuff like that. And Camille also locked in. And this is, I mean, one of the 4 horsewomen of top lane right now. Those big bruisers are seeing so much popularity. And Camille, especially when piloted properly, can be so disgusting.
Yeah, indeed. And I will say Talon, it's an interesting one for me because the first pick of a solo lane is kind of like, whoa, why would you do that? But there has been rumors about Talon jungle. Talon, Zed, Kiana, they've all kind of made their way recently, and there is that potential that could be flexed around. Now, we do see the Jax and the Ziggs, another person that could go into the jungle, and Ziggs obviously could go mid or ADC, and considering that they did just lane swap, there is that potential.
Yep, you're right. The role swaps might even play into these champion swaps as well, because you mentioned Talon jungle, Ziggs being viable both bot and mid lane. I think, to be fair, you know, the Talon does kind of set the team up in a certain they kind of have to draft towards enabling this Talon to either split in a manner that suits him or look for these kind of skirmishy fights. I think that can really hurt draft, but if they manage to make it work. And on the flip side, Galio locked in. This is a fantastic comboing champion with the Jarvan. I think we've all seen that combo before. And combined with the Camille means they have 3 different ways to lock down an individual target and combo into a madness level of CC. So I'm really excited. I think this is a great draft from Red Side so far. And the biggest issue with it is that the Camille's definitely locked into that top lane, and Galio really only finding space in mid lane right now means that both lanes could potentially, I mean, at least mid lane could still be getting counterpicked, and the Jax matchup into Camille can be pretty rough, especially in the early, once he hits that first item point, can be really scary. I don't think Camille's ever considered to have a good MU into Jax, especially because of how Counter-Strike works.
Yeah, and it obviously can block a lot of her damage, which is kind of why Camille is just broken normally in the top side. Just that Q is just doing way too much damage. Like, I know there are a lot of memes about Cho'Gath Feast basically being her Q.
Do that.
It does feel like that, so it's appropriate. Galio obviously could go support. I do agree with you, though. I think mid is probably the slightly better role for him, especially if they think that it is going to be some sort of assassin playstyle. But I will say Talon into Galio feels okay because it is AD. He's not going to be blocking any of your damage. So it could be a little bit of a risky strat, but we'll see if it pays off. Right now, we do have the Leona and the Rakan going to be banned away as the Varus and the Tristan are taken away by Method to Madness. So a bit of support, a bit of ADC focus coming out from both sides.
I really like these bans so far. I think the support ban rotation is really important here because they will be able to look for counter picks. So getting rid of these higher priority picks. Obviously, Rakan's a bit of a weird one, but we'll work through it as we see through draft, right? See what they're planning. On the flip side, I think Varus taken away is really important when you're playing the Ziggs. This champion does so well as a counter to that because of the Chains of Corruption being such an easy pick opportunity, which can be comboed with the rest of the team. Look at the way they've drafted already. CC is really useful to them. Sivir being drafted here is, I'm just thinking about how many ADs are left. I mean, we still have other stuff that has higher priority, but they have a clear goal in mind, right? And I think with the Camille being drafted here, I think you can very easily do the Sivir, play more towards utility, play towards that mid game, the 3-item spike, and you know, the ultimate, the utility alongside with the rest of the champions they picked so far is yeah, I'm excited to see how they team fight because this is stacking up really favorably to be a really heavy team fight comp, and you can see their goals clearly aligning here. I think the Silas countered into these champions is a fantastic diversion. He does really well with all the ultimates here, but especially shout outs to the Galio ulti. That is a fantastic tool to be taken away from the enemy team. I'm really excited to see it. And then finally, Shen picked away as well, which means that Jax going in the jungle, or is it Shen support?
I personally think it's going to be Shen support. It's the best fit in my opinion. I guess you could have Zig support as well, but then
Yeah, no,
have
you're right.
a
It's
melee
Shen support.
ADC. But
It's
at the
Shen
same
support.
time, you never know. Like they picked a pretty weird comp here. I won't lie to you. They picked a non-traditional jungle. They've definitely picked a non-traditional ADC, and now a non-traditional support as well. So definitely a little bit different. Orianna there going to be locked in, which means it's most likely going to be the Galio in support.
And
I'm not sold on it yet. I won't lie to you. I think the Sivir pick was a little bit weird.
it is quite interesting that we see the two taunt champions both being picked in support right now. But the big thing here is that the Galio gets rotated into bot lane, and that takes it away from the Silas lane. On top of that, now we have Orianna being picked, a super stable mid laner, has scaling aspects throughout the game, but still has lane pressure, and combos really well with the champions they picked so far. So very clear calls coming up from Extreme Esports. They want to get through laning phase, and then they want to front to back. They want to wombo you. And, you know, I think nothing could be more clearly defined here as a wombo combo comp than Jarvan, Orianna, Camille, Galio. That is a disgusting but very easy goal to be setting you up for, because they can burn ultimates to try and set this up. If it doesn't work, well, he burned J4 ult, didn't work. Okay, we still have Camille ult, we still have Galio ulti. This is I kind of like these drafts. Let's hope they can pull it off though, because there's obviously some weakness that we can see here, and that's kind of how Method to Madness have tried to draft against it. We see the Talon being picked, we see stuff like the Jax, I think more so the Silas being picked. These are very skirmishy champions. Their goals are very clearly defined, and that they're looking for these early 3v3 skirmishes around their winning lanes. And the big point for them, what we're going to be looking for in this game, is how can they take advantage of that best as possible? And that's going to be jungle pathing. I think we're going to be watching Arnaxus really carefully, because he is going to be the key to getting them through the first 15 minutes. We also want to be looking at Drakes, right? First Drake, really important for Method to Madness to unlock this as early as possible, because they get outscaled so heavily. They want to be getting soul point. They want to be getting sold as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think that one thing I will say is, like, kind of listen to your breakdown and how you're talking about wombo combo. It makes the Sivir kind of even more a little bit like, why did you pick Sivir? Because I feel like, yes, Sivir obviously allows you to roll up on a squad a little bit faster because you do have On the Hunt. Yes, it can get you in position better so that you can then just finish off your wombo. And obviously the Boomerang Blade, if you go lethality, is a pretty strong hit. So it's nice to have that CC'd ready. But I think that there are other picks that would have just gone better. I think Misfortune is one that you can always talk about. Tristana could have been an interesting one. I think
Triss got banned.
Tristana did get banned, indeed. And maybe even some Kaisar as well, because there's not going to be much peel going on. So maybe that could be a little bit of an oversight.
Personally, I think Ashe would have been fantastic here, but maybe they were scared of this Silas rotation that they saw. I think on top of that, move speed can never be underestimated. They have three champions with really linear target selection options. So Galio E, Camille, Hookshot, Jarvan EQ combo. All of these are through the line skill shots, and that can be dodged by Ziggs W, Silas, Talon jumping over. If you have the move speed to force these champions to use those mobility tools early, that can set you up some really easy single picks. And I think on top of that whole team fight combo that we talked about as well, they have fantastic pick options. I think being able to play the Camille and just like set up vision points, create these vision deficits, and then just hook shot into Galio ulti with the J4 being able to EQ on the sideline. That move speed's going to really help that, because it means they can make that like quick split end decision. We're going to make a pick now, and it's less dependent on is Camille in range. It's more like we can move speed and see what they do. Because Sivir ulti, especially with the Dustblade build, such a low CD.
Yeah, indeed, and I think that, like, I'm not flaming the Sivir. Let's get this straight. I think that there is potential with the pick. I'm not saying like, oh, why would you do this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that, but it is a little bit like there could have maybe been some more optimization, but obviously it is also what you play. Like if you don't play certain picks, you can't pick certain picks. It's kind of, I was talking about this on another stream the other day where I was saying that counters to certain champions or champions that would go really well with your comp, it's great to have them, but at the same time, if you don't play the pick and it's a little bit skill reliant, then you could get stuck in that situation where you're kind of with a champ that you don't really know how to play, and it's just better to play something you're comfortable on. So Sivir, I do think will come through pretty clutch if they like to play the champion. If they know how to play the champion, then it definitely could bang. And also, I talked about not having much peel. Sivir does have the spell shield, so it's going to be more difficult to lock them down for free. But I will say, coming from the other side, we haven't really talked about Method to Madness comp too much. A lot of dive potential.
Yeah, and I think I think the big thing to talk about here, these key picks that we're going to be focusing in on, I think the Sylas is 100% the most important. By the way, that's Talon top lane. Yeah, the Sylas is the big thing to be noting here. I think this champion is going to be very pivotal for how team fights play out because he has so many different tools that he can use, the enemy's tools, to outplay the enemy. And I think the big thing is going to be looking at Orianna ulti, Galio ulti, Sivir ulti, and seeing how he uses those properly because they really do enable his team to do to find really good skirmishes. And that's going to be the key focus for their team comp. They don't want a 5v5. I mean, I think it would be a very bad option for them to do because they are three squishy plus a Jax and Shen support who doesn't really get that tanky. So they kind of drop like wildflies in against this enemy team comp. So skirmishing is going to be really important. I think finding a lead as well. So we're going to be looking at Arnexus, like his pathing, how he's going to find these early leads, especially in the Jax and the Talon lane. And then alternatively, I guess actually they could still be doing stuff. I don't know. Like they might not be in order.
I don't really know how they've lined up right here because it's definitely not in order.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Yoft is top. On Naxxus, let me just double check my my doc. I think it's supposed to be mid.
Okay. Does that mean Katin is jungle?
Yeah, which means that Katin is the jungle. So it is jungle talent.
Yeah. That's something hype to talk about at least.
And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like them switching around plus them also not being in order, really confusing me right now. So I'm just kind of waiting for them to get on the rift so we can really break that down. But at the same time, it's kind of that situation where even though they might be like switching around, they might be moving around, their comp is kind of one of those ones where it's a bit like, I think for me, what I'm trying to say here, I was kind of waffling there for a sec, it's all up in the air. Whoever wins early game is going to have a huge lead, and I feel like it's going to be very hard to bring this back.
Yeah, I think I'm actually really excited. The key matchups that I want to see is this Jax versus Camille matchup. I used to be a very heavy Camille player, and this is the only matchup I found, other than Volibear, that champion's stupid. This is the matchup that I found really frustrating because there is Jax does have a skill ceiling. Whilst a lot of people seem to think this champion is completely brain dead, there's ways you can use Counter-Strike as efficiently as possible, and some of the best Jax players really know how to abuse this MU. And the way that this matchup can work is that Camille has to use her hook shot to burn cooldowns. She wants to be able to burn that Counter-Strike or burn Jax's ulti so she can re-engage afterwards. And okay, Yoft has decided to go no flash. So immediately we are seeing some of the choices they're making, some of the decisions they're making to try and find or field early game goals. He probably thought that was going to be the same for the Camille too. I think taking flash against the Jax is really important. You want to be able to flash the Counter-Strike. And I think losing flash Counter-Strike as well, especially as a Jax, means that his teamfight options are going to be really limited. He is stuck in that side lane. So getting that lead in that top lane is going to be paramount. So there's a lot of pressure on Katin to get that pressure up. But anyway, loaded into Summoner's Rift, and we're seeing an invade path already.
Yeah, indeed. And we'll see if they catch anyone out right now. Losers Q is going to be able to just drop away one of those bombs, and we'll be able to dissipate himself from this moment. As I'm not going to lie, not having the flash seems like a big L for Jax. Like, I know that you have the leap strike. I know that you can jump to a ward. But as you said, in a team fight, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to get that stun off. And also, just in general, I feel like the flash is just better. I know that there are some champions, like Gwen, for example, and Camille as well, who can just take the ignite. But realistically, if I am the John right now, if I'm Chaos, I'm just running straight top lane and camping that.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that, there's a bit of trading happens in the mid lane.
Yeah, and on Naxos, they're gonna take an initial good trade, but then the damage to follow up from Mossa Soho or Mossa Soha is just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and Jack's doing classic Counter-Strike things, getting this trade off, going to burn her passive, and this is something you're going to see in this matchup a lot, is Jax is going to look to burn passive, then do trades like this. One big thing to note is the Camille has taken grasp. This should help her a little bit in the lane, but Jax will eventually outscale with that rune set.
Yeah, and ooh, nice little chains. They're going to bring him a little bit closer, but Moss just able to really put down that damage. And it's a sentiment where this Camille is able to get a lot of damage with this tactical sweep, and I feel like Yoft isn't really is not really respecting what's happening right now.
Yeah, something I wanted to talk about actually with that Ignite is that he's going to have to hold his trinkets to jump away in case of ganks or Camille using her hook shot well. And that in turn means that his vision is going to be really limited. So his wave control in these first 3 minutes has to be immaculate. He has to set up this wave in the exact point where he isn't vulnerable to ganks in the early game.
Well, but right now in the bot lane, we do see a bit of a trade of flashes there. It's going low. PU able to stay alive, and the Shen's going to go down first. Now, she was everything, trying to pick up Losers Q here. Will they have the damage? Obviously, the ADC going to have that consistency, whereas Losers Q relying on that burst, not going to be able to build the damage, and the Sivers going to take the double.
And oh wow, okay, well a fantastic punish we're already seeing here, and this is really, really against Method to Madness plan. They want the Sigs and the Shen is meant to be their stable lane. It's meant to be coming into the mid game. Sigs is such a fantastic one-item spike that it should set them up for once he's on the item to get these Drakes for free because of that poking pressure. And
but the invade they're coming out from the Talon, it is going to cause Chaos some problems, and Caitlyn is just or Katin, sorry, is just coming through and able to really put that pressure down. But Moss stepping forwards now, trying to avenge the jungler, and it is going to be a lot of people moving towards this mid side. We have both supports, both mids and the junglers ready as the double taunt going to come through for the Shen, but in they go on Nasus, able to get a bit of damage down, but it's going to be the Shen that goes down first. Caitlyn now jumping over the walls, a little bit of parkour, will be able to get away as Nasus is going to have to flash out of range, but Chaos looking for the flag drag, will get the knock up, and this could be an easy kill. The blast cone isn't going to save you as the flash from the Camille is going to pick up the kill, and Pui is in a bit of trouble here. The Galio trying to get away, but here comes Camille to save the day, picks up the kill onto the Talon, easy breezy, and they managed to pick up a load in that skirmish.
And even more bleeding happening almost immediately from this comp that we talked about wants to get ahead. Camille 2 kills up is the biggest thing to be noting here. I think Camille's going to be able to hit that Sheen earlier and find these trades after Jax. Because now Jax, because of this gold deficit, this matchup's going to hopefully look a lot different once as Sivers getting caught out.
She was everything able just to stay far enough away that they weren't caught out, and the bomb, well, the Satchel Charge helping a little bit there, pushing them slightly closer to their tower, but with their support not in lane, having not the greatest of times. It is quite threatening to have that Ziggs pushing you in, and obviously Shen with the taunt potential, it means that you can't really step out too far.
Yeah, and Sivir being poked down here should lead to first Drake. I would like to see the pressure being put up here, and we see Warriors are using a little bit of pressure, maybe to set up some vision, hopefully. But look at that. Sheen already picked up. Ruby Crystal bought 2. These are the perfect pickups you want to be picking into this MU. I think Yoft is going to struggle really hard now because he can't use Counter-Strike aggressively to start trade, because if he does, he's going to immediately get hook shots once that E is over, and Camille will find very easy grass trades into that matchup. So I think you'll see a big struggle for Yoft to really do these kinds of things here. As a bit of flubbing there. That's not how you want to be doing the trade.
Yeah, both kind of not hitting it perfectly there, but coming up pretty even. And how are you definitely having the better time there? Yoft starting to take pieces of damage here and there, and Camille looking really strong, already got that Sheen as he is going to jump in there looking for the Counter-Strike, does manage to land it, but in comes the hook shot, but not going to land. That could be pretty big for How Are You, as now Yoft able to start proccing more and more autos, going to get him pretty low. Tactical Sweep will get the slowest. Chaos is roaming up, gets the flag and drag, but doesn't get the knock up. Should be able to finish the last auto off, although saying that, Counter-Strike came through. I don't know how Camille died, but the Cataclysm is going to finish off the Jack.
Yeah, that Ignite Jack's really hitting hard. Does the dubstep Ignite to make sure Camille dies there. And that's absolutely not what you want to be getting as a kill in the mid lane.
Right now we do see Moss trying to get away. Catelyn Or Katin, sorry, not going to be able to get close enough just yet. Although saying that, diving back in, almost finding the damage, but it will not be. As on the bot lane, Galio with the taunt, it's not going to really be met with any damage from She Was Everything. And the Ziggs just proving to be quite a menace there with the bouncing bombs.
Yeah, I think sorry, my brain's a little bit AFK. Sorry, yeah, we see the stancing here from Talon. I think we're already seeing jungle diff a little bit because Katin hasn't really been able to find much.
Taunt came through right now. Jarvan going to be able to pick up the Talon kill, but Sivir gets the Shen as well. Ignite coming through onto Loser's Q, and Chaos is easy going to be able to pick this one up if he does manage to land the damage, and he will hit him with the flag of all things, and we'll be able to pick up that kill. So another trade going the way of Extreme, and in a way that was a little bit lucky on the bot lane.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little replay here, and you can see how missing that hook shot is so important for this matchup. And this Ignite drops here, so that even though Yoft, not only does he end up picking up the kill onto Camille, 2 kills down, he also ends up burning that Jarvan ulti, that Cataclysm. So now Chaos is a little bit out of tempo, and he did actually manage to pick up 2 kills on the bot lane with that very interesting trading as Masoha just blows the command Chaos for no reason. But oh well.
Yeah, I don't know why the shockwave was used there. That was a little bit interesting. And also what we didn't see when we were looking at the replay there. So how are you used the Hextech Ultimatum already, and Yoft has used the Grandmaster's Might. So no ultimates in the top lane, but nothing really happened. They only went to the half HP. There was no crazy trades just yet. But it does feel like Yoft is in control of this lane.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is that he managed to find that kill up, and he's picked up the Vamp Scepter as well. So long as he's trading evenly against this Camille, he's going to edge out in the long terms of it, so long as he's able to maintain his mana. He is CS down at the moment, but that might just speed you to, that double kill kind of affecting his CS per minute. We might see him pop back up once he starts to get a little bit more control of this lane again. Yeah, I think really weird fight choices from Method to Madness have really put them in a really difficult spot right now because they're 3k gold down, and we can see that especially Katin is suffering just a little bit, CS down, and also you can see the kill participation from Chaos really showing how effectively he's played pressure out on the map so far. And also something we haven't noted yet, they picked up the first Drake. They got the Infernal Drake, which is such a good one Drake to be taking, and it's setting them up for at least slowing down the enemy team from getting that 4-star quickly, as Masoha finds a huge trade.
Yeah, Moss getting traded on by Onyxus, but able to win that one out. As we do see the Counter-Strike going to come through, but Yoft will be stunned up before we can get any damage off. And the top lane definitely still feeling quite even. I did say that Yoft does have the slight edge at the moment, as we do see Warriors are able to dodge away from the Galio taunt, but still going to take a decent chunk of damage. But the rest of the map feels very much Extreme, and Chaos has been a lot of the reason for that. He's been able to kind of counter-gank the Talon and just cause a lot of mayhem in the game. As we do see a questionable dive there, will die to the tower. Jax able to get the Counter-Strike off, but it was Talon that picked up the kill, and Katin now able to get a little bit of gold back. But with the Jax going down, Camille having a bit of time in the lane, that may actually pay out worse than if Jax had got the kill.
Yeah, the big thing to know there, even though the dive ends up being a kill trade, they get to spot Katin on the top side. Oh, what a trade.
Oh, but talking about trades, most are going to go immediately down as Katin stays alive. Questionable play from How Are You diving under the tower. Did not have the damage to finish that one off, and I don't even think Precision Protocol would have been up.
Yeah, interesting dive from How Are You. Obviously, Direct Cam also trolling us for that kill in the mid lane as well, and Arnex is finding kill point in a lane where, the ultimate goal for this Ori is just stability. She wants to be staying in the lane, getting that mana flow proc and stacking that tier, waiting for her first item. So Arnex finding a punish point there is really, really big for him. Alternately, we saw the Camille trying to dive the Talon in the top lane and ends up dying for free. And not only that, I think did end up burning the ultimate as well. Bit of a flub, and that's going to help. That's going to impact this MU now, because Jax still has that ultimate available as a pick in the bot lane.
We do see Loser Q locked up there, but Chaos hasn't managed to get the damage off yet. Although saying that, Satchel charge into the tower, not going to help you today, as Chaos easily picks up that kill. And another one onto this bot lane. Ziggs has been notorious for being quite safe because he can kind of get away, he can trade from long range, but right now, Loserq not having the best of time, getting caught out quite a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, whilst Chaos has found a lot of punish points in this bot lane, and even, I mean, she was everything, also 3 kills up at the moment. Look at that CS. I mean, 30 CS down, even with those kills, even with Ziggs having died 3 times. We can see that in isolation, I Am Loserq has had a fair amount of control in this lane. And that's really the potency of the Ziggs and why we've been seeing it so much, is it does have so much stability in lane. And the fact that it's been punished properly by Chaos is just like a testament to how well they're playing this game so far, especially because we've already talked about so far, like their comp scales really well. They have so many different pick options they can pick. And for example, this is their perfect fight point. They have the grouping, those triage of champions, which can combo with each other so effectively. There's no real way for Katin or the rest of his team to contest an objective like this when they're already in position.
Yeah, and it's kind of boiling down to the sentiment of a lot of mistakes were made early, and it's whether or not they can survive long enough for them to kind of not matter, or if they can make plays that will go their way and kind of redeem the earlier players. We do see Katin now going for the bot lane. Good exhaust there does stop him from pressing forwards as I Am Loserq now in a lot of trouble here. In goes How Are You to pick up the kill easily. And the TP from How Are You maybe not needed, as She Was Everything did manage to pick up the kill. And Katin now maybe looking for a steal, but even with the parkour, I feel like it's still a risky maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, the TP ultimately, even without getting help with that kill, is on timer for Drake. So it does end up securing the second Drake really easily as a fantastic punish.
Katin caught with the shockwave, going pretty low, will be taken down. We do see the seal of the shockwave, but it's not going to really make too much of a difference. Hero's entrance going to slow it down. This fight, Warriors are going to be knocked up and now in a lot of trouble. Gets taken down. I think Chaos could have maybe given that to Moss, but it will not be for now. And even more kills going over, more bleeding, as you said. And we look at the gold, it's almost 3k.
Yeah, and I mean, Chaos is just in complete control of this jungle at the moment. We can see he got his Gore Drinker so early, and that's really going to help provide the utility his team needs. And I think also we have to mention the fact that he's level 10. He's matching his solo laners in XP right now. He's in a fantastic point to take advantage of the map, and he's doing so really well. They get the Drake, second Drake, going for Extreme Esports. And on top of that, we can see the skirmish then. We can see how easily they're able to deal with these, I mean, you mentioned it, more solo QE champions. I mean, Talon just gets completely locked up by Pui there. And, yeah, fantastic punish. Get even more kills. Get the Drake as well. Get pressure on this mid tower. We can see only one plating left. Oh, punish on top.
Ooh, How Are You trying to get away? And beautiful play. Hextech ultimatum into the hookshot to easily maneuver out of that situation. And right now we do see Katin going for She Was Everything. This should be the kill, but it may not be, as She Was Everything still staying alive. The boomerang coming back, but it will be going to the Talon, as that is the ADC life in 2021.
Yeah, and with this jungle Talon, he's started to go straight into the Yomus now. This item's are really more fighting in the mid.
Yeah, Moss taking a big trade here, but able to pull on Axe's back, and it may be all she wrote. Although saying that, it looked... I don't know if that was a dodge, because I'm pretty sure you can't Cataclysm onto minions, but really smooth moves from Arnaxis there to get away. But Jarvan, once again, turning up and causing some problems, and Moss not being punished hard enough for how much the rest of the map are losing if you are Arnaxis.
Yeah, I think Arnaxis, maybe that flash was just in at the same timer as that Cataclysm. It did look quite funky. And big thing here is that even with that punishing and flash in the mid, they see bot sides are getting taken and they choose to do that trade in top lane as well. Really smart for them to play like this. And I think She Was Everything is in the perfect place where they want to be right now. They want to be farming safely, getting as much as possible, because if this Jax isn't directly pushing this lane, as you can see, he's in a very precarious position right now and they don't really have the vision to support that. Civ is choking out free gold for Method to Madness. Pig setup here though is fantastic.
Picked up indeed, although Camille going to go over the wall. We'll find Katin on Axis, maybe looking to join the fight as Cataclysm in does lock out Pui, and it's going to be an easy pick up there. And I will say that Jax has made his way over to this top side. Chaos looking to get away, will flag and drag out. The stun comes through, which is a little bit of a weird interaction, but he was able to get away. And on that top side, it becomes very difficult for Jax to dive. We talked about Jax being very strong in the side lane, but Sivir having the spell shield, if they stay under tower, they stay safe. There's no way for Jax to stun them.
Honestly, I'm surprised that Jax didn't go for Thunder first, as Blade the Rune King is definitely fueled towards trying to kill Camille as much as possible, but he hasn't really spent enough time in that lane. And yeah, that pick there, I think the big thing was that Extreme Esports just didn't have the numbers to support it. They also didn't really have the vision. We can see, vision is very sparse between these two teams. Their vision lines definitely aren't on point at the moment, but those sparse pinks that they had set up meant that the picks for How Are You was really dependent on that really limited vision they had. So he makes a pick in one side that only they're 3v4 already, and it just ends up falling apart. And the pick onto Pui is quite needed. As Yoft is he's fishing for it so hard.
Yeah, and they need to find picks because right now the team fighting, it doesn't feel likely that they will be able to win any of them. And if they can get some picks, they can maybe get some gold. They can maybe set themselves up for some objectives as well, as it is going to be Ocean Soul this game. They do kind of need to stop the bleeding at some point, and Onax is going to be stunned up here. Hectic Ultimatum, in comes Chaos, big knock up, and another kill over to the side of Extreme, just finding what they need whenever they need it.
And you can see the immediate response, the pings trying to counter punish, especially around this Drake timer.
Ooh, Mosa in a bit of trouble here. There comes the bomb, and the Galio trying to join the fight, but will be stopped by Warizar. But I don't know if he would have been able to do much anyway. I think he would have come in a little bit late regardless. They do find a pick onto the Orianna, which is probably the best target that you can hope for. No mobility and also no spell shield. But Dragon coming up in 8 seconds. It is both teams, no mid laner. They both will be up for the Drake, and they both have TP.
Yeah, whilst it is a good pick, ultimately, the Ori does still have this TP. They also are the stronger fighting team at the moment, and Yoft might be caught out here.
Yeah, Yoft in a very weird position, but he's going to be able to lock them down for a little second. But in comes How Are You, manages to pick up the kill, as now Jarvan in a little bit of trouble here, going low, but they find a double. It now could be Morris on access on the backline, trying to save it for his team. In goes on to Chaos, but gets knocked up, and Mossa able to give over the shield. It's not going to be enough damage, as How Are You finds Katin. Will they be able to finish off this kill for the ace? It won't really matter, as the Dragon is going to be their next, or is there going to be their next move. They should be able to pick this up and take themselves one away from Soul.
Yeah, really messy fighting here. We see Yoft getting picked out, but, Pui's in a rough spot in terms of HP. Mosa Soha. I'm gonna do these names properly, don't you worry. He hadn't managed to get he wasn't respawned yet, so TP channel comes really late and he messes up the command shockwave. So even with that messy fighting, they still actually managed to pick up 3 kills. So we can see just how strong they are right now. Big things to talk about, I think, when we're looking at how they're fighting is that look at Jarvan's itemization. Full armor coming out, ignoring the Silas and the Ziggs completely in favor of just isolating that Jax, the Talon, early as possible and using those targets as focus, because those are the real threats to the backline. And that's the best way for this Ori to be able to get a clean command shockwave buff, or for the Sivir to be even an apparent threat, is to deal with the Jax and the Talon dive as quickly as possible. As distancing.
Yeah, Yoft should be able to pick up this, although great dodge there from How Are You, able to get away from the stun, and now hook shots out as they know that Captain is coming, but Yoft on the pursuit, same with Captain, looking to finish off this Camille. They will get a lot of damage down, but it's not enough just yet, but the final leap strike, counter strike, is going to be enough. They pick up the kill, but for a lot of mileage, really, because they put them on that bot side. They were kind of there for a while. They know where Talon is now, so we'll see if if Extreme can make another play.
Yeah, I don't think Extreme really have another play. We can see Katin's kind of getting in their element here. They're finding the continual picks with this Talon. They're starting to, bounty on them already at this point, even with that gold deficit, that 2k gold deficit, which used to be 3k as well. So they're slowly building back up that gold. Big thing, though, is that if we look at the vision, we can see that Blue's struggling a little bit more. I mean, I don't think both teams have particularly great vision at the moment, but we can see Red side definitely kind of covering these entry points for their carries. A big thing was that, maybe How Are You playing a little bit more cautious, and in turn Ashley got punished a little bit harder there. Big thing when he's going to be splitting up outside of these lines is they need to have the vision set up, and you can see Tribush has been pinked for quite a while now. That needs to be cleared, and you can see Chaos moving down now to set up some preliminary vision so that they can actually split this tower effectively.
Indeed, and I think a lot of things also rely on this next Dragon. I know that we're still 2.5 minutes away, but Ocean Soul, very notoriously good. I think on things like Chaos, How Are You, it's going to come in really clutch, and it could change a lot of these fights. But saying that, How Are You now potentially going to be caught away, but Hookshot's out. Yoff now in a little bit of trouble. Saying that, does have the support of Warriors are, so should be able to survive. And with the Ignite and the help, will be able to pick up the kill onto Camille.
Yeah, and once again, how are you getting punished? We can see this, like, when you're doing this kind of split push thing, you need to be sure that you're in a position to punish properly, or your team's in a position to punish any overextensions. Either have your team mirroring you, have them shadowing you, or have them in a position to take something else in advance. Baron's up, they have towers they could be pressuring, but their pressure in mid lane is really limited by the 6. So Camille's really not in a position to pressure right now, and in turn keeps getting punished.
Oh, beautiful flash with the shockwave from the Silence. Easy pick up onto Moss, and it's going to be no real contention. Obviously, Stand United was utilized. Some people could say maybe you didn't need it, but at the same time, having it, using it, ensuring the kill is better than missing out.
Yeah, it also ensures that there is any follow-up, like the Galio ulti, like the Jarvan being there in the background. That they're still going to find that kill and potentially get out as well. And not only does this open up this kill onto Mosa Soha. I'm gonna get it. Don't worry. This is the last time. Now they've got this pick onto the Ori. They also unlock top tower T, and that's just gonna create a lot more space to do these deep wave pushes and play for more objectives. They can now, this Jax is in a much better position now, because they always know that somebody's going to have to respond to top wave as well, instead of just being able to just, Yoft has to stay back because his waves can't be pushed out enough. Well, that's great. And now they've unlocked this tower. On top of all the rest of that, they can also look to unlock this tier 1 in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, and they've just been able to bring it all back, because they were behind, although saying that, they might be able to pull ahead now as Mosa in a lot of trouble, will bleed out. And Katin just finding what they need to get it done. And 26 seconds before the Drake, that means that Mosa not going to be there for 10 more seconds after Drake spawns, which could lead to their first dragon of the game, as we do see Yoft now going aggressive onto Jarvan. But with the hero's entrance, is going to back away, and a bit of damage. The ult burned. It's going pretty good for Method to Madness now.
Yeah, I see no way that Extreme Esports can contest this Drake. This should be the first Ocean or the first Drake for Method to Madness now. And yeah, you're exactly right. The tide seems to be turning, and the big reason for that is that now we can see that Katin, as well as the rest of his team, they're making the first action. They're deciding who they're going to play through picks. They're going to play to exactly what their comp be described in draft, how they want to play. And this is the choice.
Bold move indeed. They've started it, but they are going to walk away. We do see the Vision Ward is going to spot them out, so they're not going to be baited just yet. But they're looking to turn the tables. They're looking to get a pick for themselves. They've been done with being picked. They want to start picking, and we'll see if they are able to manage it. As so far, Myth to Madness not biting just yet. We do see the Ziggs ultimate going to be used to see if they are doing the Baron, and they will be spotted out as just trying to bait this one in. And a third tower going to be going over to Method to Madness now.
Yeah, what a fantastic punish there. They use the Zigulti to ensure that they're not on it. They don't need to set up the vision for it. All they need to do is safely get Extreme Esports in a position where they can't take it, and in return, then they can shove mid and unlock this mid-tier 1. And that's, again, it plays even more to what their comp wants. Now, the big thing, though, is that Extreme Esports know that vision wasn't sequestered, so they can continue to pressure out and look to take the Baron here.
Yeah, they're going to get it pretty low. 1,000 left on it. Katin's going to go in a little bit later. Now the fight begins. TP is going to be coming through for the Jax, but Warriors are in a lot of trouble here. But Mosa already going to be going down by the Talon. How Are You in a lot of trouble as well? She was everything, trying to run away and kite the fight, but in the middle of the mix, our Nax is going to be able to lock down the Jarvan soon, I believe. Although saying that, he is able to run away, but they've taken down the ADC. They took down the mid as well. Only Chaos alive, trying to survive. He will be able to get away, but only for a little bit, as Katin on the parkour trying to chase him down. Will they be able to find him? That is the question. Yoft just narrowly missing it. The Baron recall a little bit OP.
And I'm sure Mosa Soha is really enjoying that Talon one-shot there. Literally out of stealth, 80% HP gone, and definitely regretting not picking up a stopwatch or at least itemizing into the Sonya's second. And so this full AP build we're seeing from the Ori very clearly isn't working out, because not only are shockwaves, they're not landing consistently, but on top of that, just completely blown up in that fight. And Katin didn't really lose much for it. They got the free blow on the Ori and then could immediately pressure She Was Everything, who got pushed out of the fight by I Am Loser's Q. So their carries fall apart. And then on top of that, Jax has once these, this team gets split up, once carries are gone, they're skirmishing. And we talked about the fact that this blue side comp does so well into the skirmish. And once again, this pick onto How Are You, we can see once again, there's no real vision set up to know where these teams are at all times, and in return, punished again. And yeah, I think How Are You is definitely respecting that now and playing a little bit more cautionary.
Yeah, and it's a sentiment where the shockwaves may not be landing, but part of the reason is because they don't have time. It immediately just removed from the fight, no chance to really do anything. And I do agree. I think the Zhonya's is crucial, and I'm very surprised we've got to this situation. But hold that thought for a second, as we do see the hook shot. Going to get How Are You away from Yoft, but having to run for their life. This Jack's very, very strong right now, looking for the leap strike. Not going to be able to get in range, though. Will be able to get away for How Are You. But it's a sentiment where Extreme were really far ahead. They had a lot of pressure, but then they just kept falling prey to getting picked, and they kept overextending. They didn't respect the Method to Madness squad, and they didn't start setting up wards. They didn't try and stop it, and they've now paying the price for what they could have done earlier. They could have just started setting up vision, played a little bit more slowly, and waited for objectives for actual team fights. But now they're going to have to try and kind of turtle a little bit and just hope that it's Method to Madness' turn to overstep.
Yeah, and How Are You maybe getting caught once again does spot out Cat in there. The big thing though is that maybe a pick being picked out here.
Yeah, right now Chaos stepping forward. I don't know if this is really going to yield to much, although saying that, a lot of damage going down onto Katin, but Camille not in range, not able to get away, and now Galio in a little bit of trouble as Yoft's going to step forward, but low mana, gets knocked up by the Jarvan. The taunts are there, damage going down, but with the shield from Shen, he is going to be able to stay a little bit healthier, and this is a very, very awkward tower dive. Golden Jarvan is going to try and get away. Puyu almost falling, and the TVs are going to be driving him home. It is going to be the Talon that picks up the kill, as Sylas now joining the fight, looking for more. Nax is flashing away from the shockwave, and Mosa in a lot of trouble here. Will get picked up the second to fall, and they're on the run. Will the side of Method to Madness be able to catch them up is the question. I don't think they will, as Everfrost used stun, not going to land, and Sylas will not be able to connect on to the Sivir.
Yeah, and we can see, here's the thing, Extreme Esports are definitely still in the game. You can see that clearly from even this tower dive where they play really poorly into enemy CDs and they're looking for this tower dive at a really weird point. They still almost found a double kill. And so you can see they very clearly had the fight options. Big pick.
Oh, Chaos in a lot of trouble here. Gets stunned up after the taunt, and Yoft just so much damage. Dismisses of the Jarvan, and that's another tower. Now 5-2. It was 2-0 at one point. And it is now a 5k gold lead over to the 4k gold lead, over to the side of Method to Madness.
Yeah, and we talked about red side outscaling, but the larger thing to be looking at now is look how strong this Jax is. This completely rips apart the team because, especially with how you has itemized, he's gone into this Ravenous, which is definitely the more split pushy build option that you want to be doing. It means he's kind of locked into that side lane and locked into a side lane that he's not going to be winning and will continue to get outscaled in. So Yoft is in a fantastic position now to play to exactly what his summoners want. He hasn't got that flash. He doesn't care. He's only split pushing now. And they're really starting to create the space, especially with how they're controlling vision. They're really starting to create the space for success. And I think the big thing there is look at this vision score from both sides here. We're seeing 3 red trinkets from all of their players. I mean, whilst we're seeing kind of sparse vision, we're seeing that a lot of vision is being basically completely destroyed. And this only benefits Method to Madness because it means that this Talon, this Katin, gets to do what they want.
Indeed, and we'll have to see how that continues. Katin has kind of slowed down recently. It doesn't feel like they've got a pick as well in the closest future. As Mosa saying that could be the next one. In a lot of trouble here. Will Shockwave away, but there's Jax to pick up the kill. She Was Everything now trying to pay the price, but it's not going to be enough damage there as Warriors are able to keep the Talon alive. But now on the bot side, we do see Anaxis getting dove by the Jarvan, and the Camille does have the Zhonya, so able to stay alive for a little bit longer and able to get very much out of that, as Yoft's going to take on the 2. But I don't know if it's the best idea. 2 versus 1, still not the best time. But Yoft's able to start doing a lot of damage here. Chaos now in trouble, but the stun from the Camille is going to hold them back. The Cataclysm out from the Silas is enough, and that's going to be How Are You going down as well. 2 more over to Method to Madness, who have really brought this from the ashes, and now they're rising with the fire. They're looking for the Baron, and you can see the desire to win this game.
Those rhymes, man. Let's hear it. And yeah, Yoft doesn't care. He is going to walk forward. He knows his team's following up, and that's the thing. He's 3 items now. He's over 4 items even, and he's on that Starix. That's a really big item to be picking up here. It does give him more grouping power, but also it enables him to do stuff like that. He can walk into that fight knowing that at some point they will try and do turn to find that damage out. He gets the shield and gets to extend the fight. Another pick, though.
Almost. Good play from Moser there to keep Caitlyn away, and Hui almost getting picked up there as well. You have to be super cautious of this Talon. 4 items now complete. Level 17, almost at level 18. It's just a very, very difficult hill for them to climb right now, as not only the level advantage, but also the gold and the tower advantage over to the side of Method to Madness.
Yeah, item difference is one thing, but this level lead as well is so dramatic, and you can tell like how much it's impacting them, because outside of combat stats, right, or like AD, the other stuff you're getting, this HP difference is really showing. Sohaz is looking real squishy, and that's really benefiting this Talon, especially with the build he's done. This Serolda's Grudge build is really smart. You do this Serolda's second alongside with this Youmuu's and then the Eclipse, and this gives you like maximum like killing power on both tanks and squishies.
Yeah, right now Yoft just able to be really bold with his plays. It's very as we do see How Are You stepping forward so deep, and it's just going to be them obliterated. However, they are going to proc the GA from Katin, but they will be coming back up as once again Yoft going in, but Chaos staying alive for now. We do see the Zhonya's coming out from the Silas, but on the back line we do see the taunts coming through, and that's going to be another kill over to the Talon. Yoft's trying to pick up more, but it will not be enough. They do take him down, but saying that Katin's still on the hunt for Moser, who is trying to stay alive. The towers are being absolutely obliterated around us as well, as Chaos now with a lot of trouble will fall down. She was everything trying to save the base, as we do see Katin almost getting into range there. Either one would have gone down immediately, and now with the Baron buff minions, the Ziggs as well, these towers are being absolutely shredded. We do see Sivir stepping forward. A lot of damage does go down, but the Nexus is the last thing standing. Will they be able to hold them back? It doesn't look likely. The Nexus is going to fall, but we're not going to see it. It is going to be the little bug coming out from this spectator climb. That's what I was thinking.
But I mean, what a fantastic climax of that game, because the big thing is that we saw, I think, kind of countered my predictions. I'm not very happy about that. But it does really show that they played to their comps well, because we talked about the fact that one team wants to play more as a unit, one team's playing towards these skirmish things. And I think Madness, they just needed to unlock that part of their brain to go, okay, vision is really important here. We want to choke as much as possible, make picks in side lane. And once these side towers fell, we saw their plans start to hit. And that enabled them to really find fight points before Soul was taken, which was really, really important, because once Soul's taken, it becomes so much harder to make those picks because of that regenning HP in combat. And another thing to be talking about is the Camille Jax matchup, right? We highlighted it in draft, and we saw how well Yoft played into that MU and found these very clear-cut leads. And I think How Are You really gimped himself as well with the build, which really limited that pressure in the side lane and his ability to group. And so, yeah, it's really good way to take apart that comp, right? And yeah, that game was really excited. I love watching games like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun to watch. I will say, definitely a few things that could have been changed from both teams. I do think that the game was very much in the hands of Extreme, and I am surprised the Method to Madness were able to come back. And I won't lie to you, there was a point in this game where I was a bit like, yeah, this is why you don't roll swap. But then something clicked, and they just came through. They were able to get some items, and then they just started finding those picks.
Yeah, I think the correct term, the scientific term would be clown fiesta. Like they just yeah, I think really it must be the picks, right? The picks themselves, the comfort on these champions, because it was once this mid game got started, items started being built. Especially once they're able to stop, especially Madness, once they're able to stop playing kind of as a team and start playing more as individuals. We saw Katin especially really start to be like, okay, I'm finding these punish points and side lanes. There's nothing that's going to stop me doing that. I'm going to choke out as much vision as possible. And shout outs to both supports there, even though they weren't really the highlights and statistically, their vision scores were incredibly high. And that was from just consistent choking of vision around key objectives like the Drake, around, especially around these side lanes for Madness. And that really helped to accelerate their lead.
Yeah, and I always say this. Well, I don't always say this, but I'm going to start saying it now. I'd rather have a clown fiesta than a siesta. So
Yeah.
that's all we can say. Voting is open for who you think is MVP of this game. Let us know who you think really just won it for Method to Madness, because there's a lot of arguments for everyone, to be honest. I think that they all played their part. They all looked really strong on the Rift, and I'm really excited for game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned, guys.
Definitely. We'll be getting into game 2 in just a bit here. We had, unfortunately, I'll just confirm with my cast if they saw the same thing, so we don't have a miscommunication here. But I did think both teams were not in order, so they have both received a strike, meaning that they will be having one game less in the next game.
Wait, one
ban, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
The other way around, yes. One ban less in the next game. There we go. So
good, because you know what? Personal pet peeve. I hate it when teams aren't in order. It frustrates the hell out of me. So thank you. No, good.
No worries.
Good,
no, we have that in
ban.
our rule set. Our rule set is maybe not up to date on everything, but it's definitely up to date for that. So don't worry about anything. They have received their strikes immediately as the game started. So that means we will
Naughty
be seeing
boys.
one ban less. The timer will just run out.
Great. So are we heading straight into game?
Yeah, I'm figuring it out as we speak, but we shall be getting into that game shortly, as we have a few other series also going on right now that seem to be a bit difficult to match, but I'll look at it as soon as we get into the draft with these
That's
guys.
fantastic. Well,
So for
I'm
now-
excited. Oh yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, for now we'll be switching sides, and then we'll be getting right into this next game here. And anything else that you would maybe point out that needs to be banned, like this Talon jungle?
I
I
mean,
I don't know if you can ban Talon Jungle, because I'm not gonna lie, it looked good, but it looked good when they got fed. It looked awful pre-6. I'll say
Yeah.
that it looked horrible. And my other point to it is that if they had just played safer, would it have actually ever become a problem, or was it that they kind of disregarded it? They were like, "Oh, we're so far ahead, doesn't matter." And then Talon picked up kill, got some items, and then it's just, bro, you're an assassin. Like, you're playing.
I think it's a mix of both, right? I think it's just complete lack of clarity as to what the enemy team wants to do, and then combining that with, oh hey, we've got like significant kill lead on Jarvan, we just play through that, and then everybody else goes into their own mindset of, okay, well, I'm just gonna farm this wave within group. Can't farm that wave, buddy. And that was a punish we saw really consistently in that game, right? And that was how Madness found their way back into the game. So I think hopefully there'll be a lot more conversation from Extreme Esports. It's like, okay, well, we know what Archon wants to do, but even with these gimpy picks that we're taking apart right now, what's their way back into the game? And that's a really important conversation to be having, especially when you're in gold lead like that. And that's what really kind of differs these teams. That's why these teams are middle ground at the moment, is because they're missing certain like points where they can look for like, okay, well, how can this game be turned on us? And I think honestly, it is kind of depressing to see a game like that turned around, especially with the picks, because that comp really should be finding those picks in the first 15 minutes, in the first 20 minutes when skirmishes are more likely. Especially once as Camille is on that first item, she really doesn't need to be in a position where she's getting caught like that. And I think maybe it's just kind of like not respecting the Jack's kind of chase potential as well. So maybe not comfortable in the matchup. There's a lot of different variants going on, and I think identifying as many of them as possible and going, okay, well, what are the biggest issues is going to be Extreme Esports' way to turn around game 2.
That like in game 2, there's that aspect of mental as well. Method to Madness are going to be hyped because they were like, we won that game, mad. But Extreme, you're going to be like, how did we lose this game? Like, what's happening? Like, why basically, like, why did we lose? We can't let that happen again. And there is that aspect where like you're going to be sitting there kind of thinking like, we can't do that again. But now you might play it too safe, and then Method to Madness might just win because they just play their game again.
And I think
Yes.
draft is going to be a really big point for them because we've got we talked about the Sivir, right? Okay, kind of a weird pick going into that, and what that champion really does, it just enables win more. And then alternatively, we kind of criticize Madness's draft a lot for being really kind of skirmishy and only looking for these picks, but it works really well for them. So hopefully, a lot of draft adaptations. I want to see completely different comps.
Indeed. And as we're
Yeah.
going to get into the second draft here, we'll remind you that both teams will not have a ban in the first one. That's why the timer is going to 0 right now for both sides. So that they learned their lesson. They apologize, said it is okay. They accept everything in order. They will be reminded now that they have to be in order every time that they play. But yeah, other than that, we do have, obviously now with the ban going to 0 for the first one. That's why there's no ban. The second 30 seconds going down. But yeah, as you mentioned, the few upcoming bans that could be possible, like the Talon and so on. But what is the first blue pick that we want to see?
Honestly, I think we're looking for something a little bit more stable. I think the fact that Extreme Esports are blue side this game would probably lead more towards something like the Ori again. I think is real great. Alternatively, a lot of like really easy blue side picks are just strong junglers, and you can kind of check the list and pick whatever you want. I think the big thing is the Viego, right? I think I'd be surprised to see that get through drafts, but that champion's still doing really well at the moment. There's a lot of options, and we see the Talon taken away, which I guess they were scared of it.
Yeah, they just don't want to play against it. I will say, if we're going on weird AD junglers, Zed is really good right now. And not because of his ganks, but his clear is so fast. So if we see a Zed jungle, I'm ready for it. I've seen it. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool to watch. I've personally never played it because I just don't like Zed. He was like super the champ to play when I started, and I was like, nah, I'm not playing these picks. But Viego going to be coming through, probably the S tier jungler. So Extreme coming through with a very good blind one.
Yeah, and that's that big missing ban that's really affecting Method there. They lose out on the Viego ban, it gets taken away, and the answer, Qiyana. Now, this is the pick we talked about in game one. I think this is the better Talon. Has stealth options, but also has way more team utility because her ultimate is just completely overloaded. The amount of utility that ultimate has just makes no sense. And so I think this champion's really strong, and locking it in here, I think I honestly really like this. The fact that it also can be played jungle, I think they did some changes recently, which kind of enables that jungle Qiyana. I wouldn't be surprised to see it be picked up again, and they'll just play to what they did before. Oh, okay, don't worry then.
Yeah, Mumu going to be coming through there. It could be jungle, but I would expect it to actually be support. I would be surprised if a Mumu is actually coming through. And I didn't even know this champion was out yet, so surely it is not allowed in the game.
Yeah, we're going to ignore that hover.
Yeah, that's just a little bit troll. Qiyana, though, could be in the jungle. It could also be mid. There is potential for it to be jungle. I don't know about better talent, though. I will say Qiyana's jungle, her clear is still not the healthiest.
Yep, absolutely.
Zed would have been better.
Yeah, you think? Okay, cool. Yeah, the Amumu changes, that Q change, man. So if anybody isn't aware, last patch, Amumu's Q got a change where they increased the cooldown, but they gave it 2 charges. That essentially enables him to have 3 Qs in like a 7-second window. It's ridiculous. It's really unbalanced. And I think Riot have done a really job of making this champion a lot better in high elo because it is working. Kench locked in. This is the most elo elevated champion in the game right now. This champion is so obnoxious. That's definitely going to be going into the top lane, and I love to see it because I think this champion it's 3 wins. And I just picking this champion by default increases your win rate. I love this champion so much, and Mundo answered into it as well. Another tank into Kench, whilst means that Kench doesn't have a lane to decide to bully into. It also means that Kench he's still going to have advantage in lane, and he has more targets to decide to swallow. I think this kind of with the Amumu jungle and the Mundo, they drafted 2 tanks plus a Qiyana. You kind of can't really see where either comp's going into with these drafts so far, which you like. You want flexibility going into B3, B4, and B5. So I'm excited to see an Annie banned away.
Yeah, and now Tahm Kench, I agree with you, is a little bit busted. Mundo, obviously my favorite champion, so I love seeing him on the Rift. He's actually quite good into Tahm Kench because obviously the cleavers do percentage health damage, so you can kind of keep him at range. He doesn't need to get too close. Also, if you try and eat Mundo and he has his passive, it's not happening. It's not happening, mate. So that's a little bit peak for Tahm Kench. But we'll have to see how they do play that. Obviously, he does have the stun as well, so you could avoid said scenario. But in the bans coming through, Annie there taking away Miss Fortune banned out, which I'm a little bit surprised by Extreme Sports.
They heard you game one.
They did hear me game one, but they didn't play it. So I don't know why. I'm a little bit surprised by that one. Let's just.
I think honestly, they're just getting rid of the classic Amumu MF ulti combo. This has been in the game since like season 1. People love picking it because it's so incredibly easy, and combined with the fact that Amumu's almost definitely going in support because that's where people have been really playing him. He has seen some jungle play, but the Amumu support, with like stuff like the Everfrost or even going full tank, has seen a lot of play recently. Oh, well, I wouldn't say a lot. It's kind of sleeper, kind of like the Graves mid. Graves mid, by the way. I would love to see that. Rise also banned away as well. It's very clear that just trying to get rid of some AP threats. Hopefully push mid lane into an AD threat instead. And then Varus also taken away. I think we mentioned in game 1. It obviously must be an important pick for Method to Madness. But also the champion, I think, is pretty good right now, and he functions really well with the comp they've got drafted.
Oh, and that is a Lucian hover, but it's going to go to the Tristana for now. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think Rise is pretty strong, and if you are trying to push them onto AD, that makes a lot of sense. Aphelios going to be coming through here. I don't particularly like it with Amumu. I think that it could work. Definitely has potential. Obviously, a lot of CC coming through from Amumu will aid Aphelios in the early game, but no real options to help peel Aphelios, which could start to hurt him.
I mean, Amumu has peel options, I think, with the ulti. I think on top of that he's looking at a comp which is going to be 3 squishies, and Aphelios does do really well on that 3 item spike, getting the IE30. He doesn't really like going Lord Dom's third. So it's a good pick to be picking into. And I think Aphelios is one of those champions where it's like, if Aphelios pop up in your solo queue or your normal games, you're like, this is scary, but not because the champion itself is scary, but because when it's picked, it's normally picked because somebody's in a position to play it well. Alternatively, we see Ashe Sylas picked. I think obviously Sylas going into Extreme Esports this time. They're clearly wanting to do some of the shenanigans they saw in game 1, and Ashe being picked up. We mentioned it in game 1. I think it's champion. Really easy pick tool, and it combos really, really well with the Sylas Viego, especially with how they probably want to build this game. And opens up a lot of avenues for single pick threats. The Rumble being picked means I just don't know what is going. It must be Rumble jungle, right? And then Kiana solo lane.
It could be Rumble mid. Methods of Madness truly living up to their name.
But would you ever want to pick Rumble into Sylas though? I
personally wouldn't want to pick Rumble
uneducated.
ever.
You can see how rusty I am at this game because I just don't know what is going on.
I think that's a little bit because of Method to Madness playing to their name. They're very much messing up what most people would think is the game. We'll have to find out in a second when we do go through to the client draft. But I will say Extreme Esports are actually playing a comp that they've played, or at least a comp that they've played similarly before. So this is something that they've utilized, and they should be quite familiar with the picks that they're playing right now. I've seen them play this Tahm Kench before. The Soraka Ashe as well has come through. So for them, definitely resorting to some sort of comfort. So maybe Extreme Esports are going to have a little bit slower time, but a little bit more controlled time, and potentially pick up the win on game 2.
Yeah, and I think we can see both teams kind of playing it more safe than draft in general. I think obviously Madness choosing some wild champion picks, but even within that, they are less gated towards like this kind of pick potential. There's a little bit more safety in them with the double tank, with the Amumu being picked. And then on top of that, Soraka, Kench, a disgusting healing combo that scales really heavily. So we're going to see healing reduction from both sides, but the bigger thing is we're going to see kind of linear team fighting, I would assume. I mean, we'll see where these champions end up being, but we're seeing a lot of this kind of tank front line. We're seeing some some team fight tools like Rumble ulti. So I just want to kind of get into game and see how these guys play the first 10 minutes out, because then I think we'll have a much clearer goal of what each team is trying to do, because honestly Madness's team comp is a little bit hard to judge.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I was rethinking about it, and I was like, could you maybe go Mundo jungle with your team comp? Because I play Mundo jungle. I like Mundo jungle a lot, but it is definitely weird. I will say that. It's not the most normal. But Kiana is going to be the jungle, so Katten staying to their AD assassin jungle picks. Still thinks they would have been better, but it doesn't matter. Rumble there going to be locked in as well as the mid pick. So it is going to be on Axis playing against the Sylas. Now, he played pretty good on Sylas. So maybe he knows something that we don't. Maybe this is actually slyly a really good matchup into Silas, and we're about to watch Silas burn.
Yeah, I think Rumble, especially with the changes he got when he got booted out of the jungle, like before, people seem to forget Rumble was a really big lane bully, and he continues to be. I think his damage, especially on that one Anthem spike, with if he's able to land both of his E's, which he will into this melee matchup, that's why people picked him in top lane, is for consistent E damage. He definitely has a ability to bully, and that can be really important for creating some safety with this Qiyana lane, because they know that Qiyana wanting to contest his first scuttle if possible, and if Chaos gets double scuttle in the early game, it's going to spell doom for Katin to even get started before the game really has even begun. So really important for Katin to have some kind of security net, and I think the Rumble does really well here. I think alongside with the comp as well, right? I think Rumble it combos really well with Qiyana ulti, with a Amumu ulti. They have all these different tools to lock targets up for a set amount of time. Rumble ulti benefits greatly from that. So whilst the pick in isolation may not seem as hot, I think looking at the comp they've drafted, I mean, I quite like it.
Yeah, no, I do as well. I was thinking that too. I was like, damn, you know, it would be really spicy to see if you hit that Qiyana ult and then you just have the Rumble ult laying there. Because I'm not gonna lie, like if I get hit with that in a game, I'm just like, nah, bro, let me just FF this game.
F4.
Like,
Get me out.
Next, bro. Like, no, I'm okay. Like, that's so much damage just immediately. Plus, you also have the Amumu as well on top. So it's going to be even easier to set up because they can just stun you, lock you down, throw you against the wall. The Rumble has been burning you for time. And by this time, you haven't even thought about Felios, who is potentially going to become a massive threat in this game. And it's someone we haven't even talked about yet because that's how threatening their team already is.
Yeah, I think, I mean, before we go on to the fellas, I want to look at blue side, right? Because we're seeing also their own goals get into formation here. I think the Ashe is pivotal here. It's pushing their team into a comp that really wants to be making the fight first and picking off individual targets and playing through those resets with the Viego and using that frontline of Soraka to extend these fights to get repeated fight points. And that's going to be, that means that key targets that they're going to want to get, Qiyana, Rumble, or Felios every single time. If they aren't able to make the pick first and onto those champions, especially the Rumble and the Qiyana, so that Viego can immediately go boom, summon, and swap into that body, they're going to really struggle to fight properly because they don't really have much peel. Their out options are really limited, other than Kench burning the ulti and using that abyssal. It's a travel
dive.
Is it an abyssal dive? Sick.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Abyssal dive to get out of the fight. You know, that's only one target. They're pretty committal. So let's hoping they play through it properly. But we can see here, pick comp kind of through and through.
Yeah, and obviously Viego, Silas, and Ashe can all become really big problems in the late game, and Soraka will be nice to keep them healed up, and a lot of them have healing anyway. Like Viego obviously heals himself, Silas heals himself, Tahm Kench heals kind of with obviously the Grayskin if it does melt away. But it's a lot of burst from Method to Madness. So they're kind of saying like you've got healing, but it doesn't matter because you're going to be dead or alive. And basically, if you survive, okay, then you can start to win a team fight. But if you just immediately get blown up, then it doesn't matter that you brought Soraka to this fight. So
yeah, but we're going to see how the Amumu decides to itemize as well. Because if he does go into the AP build, which people have been playing, Everfrost has been done. I played against like Everfrost Rabadon second Amumu jungle yesterday, and it was a nightmare. If he does do that, it's just going to play more into what the comp wants to do, which is if they're able to make the pick first, well, they don't need to be so picky with their targets. And I think the big thing here is like, okay, well, Madness want to get out of their lanes. I think Rumble does really well into the Silas matchup, but I don't think Kench, I don't think Mundo does well into the Kench. I think Kench tends to bully. I think Mundo can play pretty safely, you know, just farm with Q and stuff, but it does mean that Chaos has a lot of space to choose where he's moving into. If he's going to invade, then Kench and Silas can create a lot of pressure through that with their skirmishing. And then on top of that, Asheraka is a really stable lane. It is hard to find a punish point on that where you're gonna, unless you can find all in, where they can't just regen it all back. And yeah, I'm excited for that. I think bot lane is going to be another big matchup that we're going to be watching because we didn't get enough time to talk about it. But Aphelios, man, this pick is a really unique pick to be looking into. And I love it when this champion's piloted well. And then on top of that, he's got a comp that he can play well into really easily because we talked about the combos that they have. But on top of that, they got CC chains, and Aphelios does really well when he's able to flat hit targets. He has multiple weapons that scale the more, the longer you're in fights and stuff. So I am excited to see, especially with the Conqueror, how I Am Losers Q plays out this game.
Yeah, and there's a lot to look at. I personally think the top matchup is very much just player versus player. I think that you can win it either way. I think that Tam does probably have a slight advantage just because you may not lose it as Mundo, but also just being able to kill Tam is just quite difficult.
Yeah. You say that again.
it's just quite annoying to play against Tam, period.
Yeah, I think I've been corrupted by clips of Tom Kench with like cloth armor, like 1v1ing people with full items. Like that champion is nuts sometimes. But anyway, in game now, and I think the thing we're seeing already, double red smite really important. We're seeing double Dorans in mid lane as well. Obviously with the change to double Dorans, Rumble can now effectively buy it, and he gets that bonus HP regen. But big thing is double sword in bot lane. Now, unfortunately, I've been out of the scene for a little bit. I have no idea what this means.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that as well. I will say the biggest surprise for me is Yoft has, I don't know if he just forgot, he's taken Ignite TP again. So once again, no Flash, which I don't hate. Like, I don't think you need Flash on Mundo. Do I like Ignite? Not really. I don't think you're really going to get that much usage out of it. I think Ghost would have been better.
Yeah, I honestly tend to agree with you, but maybe Yoft is literally doing the same thing he did last game, because that Ignite was actually really impactful in that lane in game 1. And if you're seeing that, hey, look, we're kind of tight in play, but I know that Katin's going to play to me again, I can take this Ignite and safely do it because Chaos isn't going to punish me properly. And that's what happened game 1. Chaos had a lot of bot lane pressure, but pressure was nearly never put onto Yoft. So yeah, maybe that's what Yoft is drafting into. I think, okay, so sword triple pot I want to talk about. I just had a quick look, and apparently people are doing this regularly, 30% pick rate for Ashe at least. And I think, honestly, this probably benefits both lanes to have that more consistent HP gain, and this gives them a really quick access. As a lot of trading happens in the top lane.
Yeah, a lot of trading is happening, but actually Yoft's going to come out slightly the better, as our Naxxus also taking really low by most of this game. So tables have definitely turned a little bit in the mid lane, and we will have to keep an eye on that very closely.
Yeah, the sword gives really early access.
Oh, hold on one second though. Abyssal Dive is going to be utilized. The stun is going to hit, but Yoft once again able to walk away. And how are you having that early lead is going to be pretty good, as we do see Warriors are able to get some damage onto Hui, but it's not going to be enough. I Am Losers Q taking pretty low. The Ignite use as well, but it won't kill off the Soraka, as Warriors are almost finding the target there.
Yeah, the PvE kind of playing a little bit aggro there on the Soraka, so it does end up getting punished. I think hopefully I'll get to say it this time. I think the sword is going to mean that, you get onto your first item earlier, especially that quick bow. I think people love the item. It's super stat efficient, so getting onto it as quickly as possible, really important.
Indeed, as Moza, I'm a little bit confused. Onyxus has all his HP back, so definitely having to burn those pots pretty quickly, and is fully healthy in this lane, but Moza definitely having the better time, still has biscuits in their inventory, and Onyxus,
yeah, so I think the big thing is that it's a double. You get 2 pots and Doran's Ring. When you don't have any mana, it gives you health regen instead. So that's where that HP's come back there. Even though he ended up getting chunked out in the lane, double pot plus Doran's as many, he's back to full HP again. So Onyx is kind of sustaining through that lane.
Oh, here's a Captain coming in. A big heal there from Pui, but it won't be enough just yet, as she was everything, going pretty aggressive here, but now Warriors are with the flash. It will force away She Was Everything's flash, and that is pretty big. And mobile ADC, no flash is absolutely huge on that bot side.
Yeah, and Chaos was finding a single camp lead. Didn't find a punish in the mid lane, and that's double sums down on Ashe is really important going into this, especially because of the level 6 pressure from I Am Losers Q and Warizar is really, really big, and not having that exhaust is going to be so important to mitigating that kind of burst that they have.
Yeah, and Moza now seemingly being forced away from some of this farm, so actually not having the greatest of times, as She Was Everything now getting poked out a little bit by I Am Losers Q, but I Am Losers Q definitely coming the worst off after that volley, and there's going to be no healing coming out from Yorumu, but Are we able to force them
Ooh.
out here with the silence? But now she was everything in a little bit of trouble, gets healed up, and Iron Blizzard going to walk away. But the Amumu with the damage picks up the kill. First blood in the bot lane.
Yeah, and we're seeing some really aggressive stancing from both ADs there. And, you know, She Was Everything's the one without summoners, so ends up getting a kill turned around onto them. And I think that maybe they're either unaware or not respecting the Amumu enough. The damage on that level 1 Q is really, really high because of the fact that it has that 2 charges. You get to pump that stuff out, you know, twice, 3 times in a single 15-second trade. So it's really scary to be doing that kind of aggressive trading. And they play into it, and no kill gets given over to the Amumu. So, you know, a little bit of a gold lead now coming up on Method to Madness.
Warzone now going in on a very questionable movement here. Gets snapped up and is going to go down to Chaos, who will become a Amumu himself. And now Anaxis might be in trouble, but okay. Kaden just coming through, absolutely obliterating Chaos for the 1-for-1.
Yeah, I think that summon was a little bit silly because you know, you're jumping into a level 4 Amumu, so immediately lose that HP and big trading top lane.
Oh, but Moza there taking Kaden really low on Axis with the equalizer, able to get the better of that trade as we do see Yoff now walking down. How are you? I talked about this. Mundo gonna get the win. He does what he wants. He goes where he pleases.
Yeah, I mean, Ignite. Again, the same thing as game 1 where there's just no respect towards the Ignite. Like, he has the Mundo burn TP, he has TP up, but How Are You just doesn't respect it, doesn't use the TP in exchange, you know, to get a little bit of HP back. It gets punished, and now suddenly this lane's going to be a lot harder for him. He was in a really good spot, and now he's, sitting a little bit silly.
Yeah, and I will say the level 6 does change things. I think that How Are You gets a huge win chance off the level 6s. Right now, you're going to use that maximum dosage, going to try and get away. The tower putting in a lot of the work for them, to be honest. And Viego just walking around that wall is going to try and find Yoft here. Does still have his passive, so it's not able to be stunned just yet, but it's already needed. Chaos still on the chase. Yoft trying to run away. Here comes Mosa. The kill will be given over to Silas.
Honestly, handing the kill over to the Silas is probably the way you want it to be. So whilst Yoft looks to burn time there, it actually, I think, plays out quite well for Extreme Esports. Big thing is they wasted so much time there, but we saw no movement from Katin to look. Big
hold on one sec. She was everything in a lot of trouble here. Gets picked up. Warazar taking the kill once again, and the stun straight away. But Mosa with the steal picks up the ulti. That's so much damage, and Warazar now in a lot of trouble. Here comes Katin, but I think Mosa might be able to pick up this kill first. Although saying that, it's going pretty low. The ultimate was used by Kiana. Here comes the Rumble. They found one, looking for the second. Mosa trying to stay alive, but will go down. Double to the Rumble in what is a 3-for-2 over to Method to Madness.
Yeah, fantastic rotation from Mosa Soha to try and punish this kind of little bit of aggression there, but I think the counterbalance from Katin there to really seal the deal, get that 3-for-2, and you know, we talked about not being there for the Drake. Well, maybe he wasn't in a position to, and in return, just make sure to hover bot lane for that counterplay. And yeah, honestly, the Rumble's in a really good spot now.
Indeed, and we questioned the Rumble a little bit before coming in, but so far has paid off. And obviously, we can't forget about the cooldown on that ultimate. It is notorious. It is one of the things Rumble is known for. That equalizer is going to be coming out a lot in this game, and as we've already seen, does a lot of damage and really is a game changer.
Yeah, honestly, great usage of Equalizer. We saw that whilst it wasn't finding much damage, Arnax has found really good angles to limit movement and took the best advantage of it in both of those fights there where he got to use it. So playing really well on the Rumble so far. We're seeing, I think, bigger thing is look at this vision control. Once again, Madness is like choking out very key areas of vision where they get to do these roam points, right? Look in that river. And that's going to hopefully help them a lot more with, you know, trying to pressure up the spot lane because She Was Everything is bleeding a little bit and they want to maximize that.
Oh, but Yoff now in a little bit of trouble here. It's going to be ganked. Uses maximum dosage really early on and should be able to just run away. As we do see Mosa going to pick up Arnax's ult, but here comes Kate. And it's going to be too much. Katin able to find the damage to give over the kill to Arnaxis. And once again, another gank onto this Silas and another kill. And this Rumble starting to get a little bit strong.
Yeah, Mosa Soha is literally completely lacking in vision and continues to try and play for that fight, losing the 1v1 anyway, or big gank in the top lane.
Yeah, Yoft this time doesn't have the passive, so it's going to be locked down. It should be falling here, although saying that they've made a bit of a meal of it. Is going to be able to swallow, though, the Viego, so they do keep Chaos alive. As Mundo almost getting out there, but this time it will go over to the Viego.
Honestly, the punish is fine, right? We get the pick on the thing, but on the pick on the Mundo. But alternatively, Katan's getting Drake now, and that really benefits their comp. They want to be looking for this early Drake if possible, because they've got the gold lead right now. That's their point to be taking. So best thing Chaos can do right now is try and trade for these plates and maybe get a little bit more gold in himself. I think he is the avenue of which they find more leads, as Yoff doesn't care. He cares a little bit. He wasn't able to find a kill there, but he was looking for it.
Yeah, and he definitely was looking for it. Wasn't able to find it just yet, and we'll have to see what happens in the rest of this top lane, because it's been pretty close. A few ganks have come down from the side of Chaos. This time actually deciding to gank Yoft. As we talked about last game, he was more bot lane focused. But now Moza is going to be looking to go aggressive here. The equalizer is going to be dropped, and it's just an easy kill for Katin. No questions asked.
Yeah, and again, Vision, once again, we're talking about it. Look at the red side Vision. It's completely choking out this mid lane. We have rotations from Warriors. Oh my god, burned.
Chaos just got absolutely shredded. Katin able to walk away with their life as well, as this duo from the jungle mid is just storming and ripping apart this game.
And I mean, okay, big thing to look at here is look at this stancing. We see them hovering around this bot side, waiting for him to step up and immediately go for the punish there. And another great equalizer comes out, and whilst Extreme Esports try to counter with the Ashe ulti, they're not in position to really do that properly. And then Chaos, what an overstep! Just no respect really being given to the amount of damage that Rumble and Katin, Onyxus and Katin have, and yeah, it does not play out well for them.
Yeah, and you say overstep, he was underneath his tower, so...
It does, it's 3v1.
It's still like, how far away can you be? But at the same time, I do agree that it was a little bit forward. It's Moza once again. Yoff now with the team. There is the supreme display of talent, and there's just no chance for Moza to do anything. Just locked down, picked up, once again, another mid-gank.
J Real, I think we call this deja vu, because we've been in this place before. We've seen the same things happen. As a little bit of trading in the top. Oh, big pick.
Every time big pick, the Warriors are with the equalizer on top. That's so much damage. Chaos trying to stay alive. The wish came through. Soraka will fall. Viego did, however, make it out alive, as Yoft, big trade on the bot side. How are you not having a good time? And loses Q. Huge root comes through from Warriors. Now Chaos trying to turn the tables. It's going to get a lot of damage down, but in comes the ADC. Chaos is going to become a Mumu, and here comes Moza. Locks down the ADC as well. Double kill in the bot lane, as Yoft picking up the kill onto How Are You in the top side.
Extreme find a little bit of a counter engage there, and actually end up picking up 2 kills. We're going to see this replay in the top side, J-Real.
Yeah, and it's... Oh, no, it is going to go back to the bot side. So, loses Q there, just able to do a little bit too much. But right now we're doing a Rito spawning in the actual game.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see there, Warazar just finding a fantastic flash read onto She Was Everything, getting a really good punish. Fantastic counter engage there, but the problem is like, it's a little bit like too little too late. They find return kills in bot side, but those are not your players that are... they're not worth the gold that you could be getting right now. And at the same time, Katin finds that punish in top lane. They get first turret and another. I just can't.
Another one.
I can't hand off to you quick enough. Like they're just, it's gone. They disappear.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone get DJ Khaled in here, because it's just another one every single second. Katin now going to be in a bit of... Oh, actually, no, saying that. Most of the one in the trouble there. The equalizer isn't going to land. Katin with the supreme display of talent. Exactly what Method is showing right here, picking up another kill, and it is a really steep climb for Extreme to come back into this game. I will say we'll have to find out if Method do throw this one, as the leads, obviously we have seen them turn around so far, but Method just looking in absolute control right now. Onyx is going to be hit by the Crystal Arrow, but Yoft still charging it down. Soraka in a lot of trouble here, going to get burned alive, and that is a nice roast dinner for the side of Method to Madness.
And with their gold, I mean, 8k gold deficit right now is, sorry, 7k gold deficit is so big that whilst they're getting picked in the mid lane, I Am Losers Q gets to just choose to take the spot towers, a little bit more fighting in the top lane.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie to you. I said it at the start. I said Yoft wins this, and he's winning it. And right now the junglers are joining. Chaos now going to get Yoft pretty low. He is going to fall down. Viego with a little bit too much damage. As Katie now backing away. Warazor is there as well, but they don't particularly want to take this fight. Chaos is looking pretty strong. And how are you having the Devour as well? We'll be able to change the fight a little bit, although Thick Skin is going to be used. Still locked down. That will take over. Here comes the Equalizer. Oh, and the curse is too much. Katin sneaks in for the kill steal. But it is a kill secure right now because they're all fed, so why not give even more over to the Qiyana?
Yeah, a little bit of Caster's curse there, because you did immediately get Yoft killed after you said he was winning those. But yeah, I mean, these rotations, we're seeing really consistently the Method to Madness are rotating first, and they're rotating with more players. And whilst Extreme Esports seem to be like about 30 seconds behind of where Method to Madness mindset is, and they're getting punished for it really heavily. We're seeing, you know, they see a pick get in top side, so like, okay, we'll trade for mid turret, but Method to Madness already know that's where they're going to be trying to punish for. Big fight here, though.
Ooh, big fight here. Moza is going to be able to drop down the Equalizer, but it could be turned around. Chaos now in trouble, trying to run away, doesn't have the Heartbreaker, and is just going to be punished. They did take the Dragon, but I don't think it's really going to be leading to too much, as Moza now hit with the Cleaver. Going to have to dash out of there, as once again does not want to be falling like his jungler, but the pressure is being felt right now. Method to Madness just closing them down, hunting them down across the rifts, and looking for this tier 2 tower mid.
And something we talked about in draft is that the Mundo just has such a good chase potential onto these squishies, right? We look at the Ashe and the Soraka, they completely immobile, and when your team's winning like this, the Mundo just does such a good job of creating that consistent slowing, enabling you to chase down even further in spaces where you wouldn't normally be able to find.
Ooh, Asher, they're going to be coming through with the silence. That's going to lock Viego down pretty easily, as Warazor trying to turn around. Oh, but Captain absolutely smokes the Ashe, and that is going to be an easy pickup. And now we'll be looking for Chaos as well. Do they have the damage? Tries to get away. Warazor going pretty low. Chaos going to take him down, and we'll be able to turn into the Amumu. Onto the flames he goes, though, as he's trying to get away. He's going to get burned up, and Pui going to be the next one. But Moza turning it around, steals away at the ult from the Qiyana, but it's not going to be enough. Another kill going over. Madness just coming through every single time.
Yeah, Katin is absolutely styling this game. He's having the time of his life on this champion pick. And we talked about, clear issues maybe showing up, but he's currently higher on farm than this Viego is right now. As we're going to get a little replay on this, and we'll see how these rotations work out for them. Because, I mean, look, Katin finds the initial pick, and even though these rotates happen, we see the Soraka ulti coming out for this miracle kill here. Rumble's there first. And so they get the initial pick here because these decided to try and get the Supreme Display of Talent out as well. Doesn't find as good a one anyway. And also is too late to the party. 2 members are already down. So as we mentioned, Extreme Esports just a little bit behind in getting those picks out.
Oh, Chaos. Chaos killed off in his own jungle while we were watching the replay. And it's literally just, it's so done. The Qiyana using the water, I don't even know what the Q is called. And then it's just over for Chaos. There was no chance for him to do anything there, as they are going to be pushing in this inhib tower. Right now it's 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes into the game. Baron hasn't even spawned yet, and this game is feeling very, very much for the side of Method to Madness. As Yoff, they're going to be able to look for this second tier 2. Not going to be able to get it just yet, and the volley is going to slow him down. He could be in a bit of trouble here, as Moza looking for the stun. Not going to land it, though. Still has the passive. The knockup not going to hit either, and the stun will finally connect. But do they have the damage needed? The answer should be yes. Yoft will finally fall. But Warazor trying to get some damage onto this tower. A little bit questionable play there. But our Naxxus is going to be able to start pushing the tier 2 in the bottom.
Yeah, Extreme Esports kind of playing for scraps here. They know that the Mundo's the only target they can really pick out right now. Big thing is that they find the kill basically for free. There's no real response from Method to Madness to find, as How Are You is caught out.
He is caught out. He does have the Abyssal Dive, so might be able to make it out alive, but it's not gonna be. Captain, once again, the damage just way too high, and Chaos, I don't know where you're going with this play, man. Like, you cannot go anywhere near this team at the moment.
They're looking for it anyway.
Oh, they're looking for it indeed, as we do see the quick pick now onto Katin, but it could be the rest of the team going down for it. Chaos trying to run away. He's going to have to flash out there, but in it goes Losers Q, picks up the kill as now Pui trying to dodge those cleavers. Is successful with 1, 2 more would have killed him, but it will not be. She with everything staying alive as well, and the volleys definitely causing a bit of disruption onto that Mundo with the slows.
Yeah, I think that in a real struggle point right now. The big thing we're looking for, I mean, it's over 10k gold deficit at under 20 minutes. They are a quarter, or they're 3/4 of the enemy team gold, and we're seeing that Qiyana especially is benefiting from that. But on top of that, like Arnexus, he's on the Medjai's 20 stacks already, so that means that move speed is unlocked as well, and their comp is in the greatest spot where they could be, because they get to shove out these waves continually, and you can see, look at the vision control. Once again, they have complete control. They get to decide who they're going to be picking and when. And on top of that, like, there's no real objective for Extreme Esports to be looking for right now. They don't have the damage to take Baron yet. There's no soul point for them to potentially play for, you know, and that benefits, honestly. Oh, another pick.
Chaos in some trouble here, does have the support, but here comes Yoft looking for the kill. It's going to be stolen away by the Rumble, as Mosa just about living. Will he get away is the question. I very much doubt it. They will lock him down. And another double over to the side of Method to Madness. They're going to be looking for the tier 2 in the bot lane now, just taking this game piece by piece, tower by tower. As how are you now running away, as Warriors are able to get a lot of CC down. Losers Q getting some damage off as well, but it will not be enough to pick up this ham just yet.
Honestly, I'm surprised he doesn't just save the summoner. I feel like it's so useless to flash there. Like, you're saving your 0-4 life. Like, who really cares, you know? Yeah, this game is feeling a little bit doomed for Extreme Esports, just because I mean, what are their avenues in? They're feeling completely choked out in all 3 lanes. All their lanes have lost. And, I mean, only Chaos is in really a position to find kills, but the enemy team is so gold accelerated, you know? There's no dueling option for you to find. So they keep trying to play for maybe individual picks. But, I mean, Katin knows this game. They played it game 1. They're playing it again. They know that, okay, well, Chaos is the only real way back in. And they, unlike Extreme Esports in game 1, they seem to be aware of what their goals are.
Oh, and another huge... Oh, that combo is so disgusting right now. They're not going to fall down just yet. Those sprints later on, it's going to be utilized when you see the Qiyana spat out, but still alive, as now Moza going to be able to steal the Amumu. Now, trying to turn it around, but it's not going to be so. Triple kill over to side of Method to Madness. We do see Tam Kench picking up 1, but it's just a bit of a consolation prize. Ace, and now maybe the base for Method to Madness.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, we saw a little bit of a spark of maybe what could be happening there, because we saw... Oh, we cut away for a little bit. Looks like we're going to get a replay on the fight, and we can see maybe finally this comp is trying to play to that 5-man that maybe they wanted. But, I mean, look at these picks.
Yeah, picks after picks after picks. And it almost looked good because they were able to survive the initial burst. It seemed like, okay, maybe they can turn it around. Obviously, Losers Q did pick up She Was Everything immediately. And then the Amumu did lock down the Rumble for a little bit, but he didn't go down. He didn't fall. And How Are You just wasn't able to do enough because he's 1 versus 4. No one is expecting him to be able to win that fight.
Well, and it looks like they weren't able to take the base, but they did unlock that second inhibitor. And yeah, I think the Zonius and the Rumble really had the value there. We saw him, you know, be able to, maybe not because he didn't actually use it that fight, but oh well. But we're seeing, you know, like that gold lead is so significant because actually that looked like a pretty good fight for Extreme in isolation. You know, they find a decent pick onto another pick here though.
It's another one. Chaos there, going to be run down by Yoft. Warazar just locks him down. It's an easy double over to Katin, and Moza thought about stepping forward, now regrets it. Sabrina stays down and locks him down. Triple over to the Qiyana. Do we maybe see the Penta? Warazar going to find How Are You, locks them down as well. And it is just stun after stun after stun. Rumble going to pick this one up so he won't give over even more kills to the Qiyana.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a win if you do, win if you don't situation where they can just kind of sit on Baron, wait for the team to scout. If the team doesn't scout, they take it, and they do. But, I mean, like, especially this game kind of shows, like, maybe how in control they should have been in game 1 because the skill gap, not a flame, it just seems so huge here. Katin having 18, 1 and 12 score, and Arnexus being 13, 1 and 15. Fantastic performances from both of them there. I think they honestly played fantastically in these picks, and especially Katin. Shout out to them making these really weird, goofy picks that Riot's been trying to shove into meta work really well.
Yeah, and I feel like there's only one way to say it, you know? We talked about Fire, we talked about Desire, but really, all we know from Method to Madness is that they know how to slay the Spire. Boom. That's me done for today. But either way, I will say it was really good play from that was not even intentional, but it was really well done by Method to Madness. They just find exactly what they need to do. They just snowballed really hard, and it was kind of similar to what we talked about in the game one about if they'd got ahead, they would have just run the game, and instead they decided to do it in game two. But it's the same comp, it's the same style, and they just finish off the map. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember Aphelios was in the game at points. And it's got nothing to do with him playing badly. It's because this Qiyana and this Rumble were just everywhere, and there was nothing to do to stop them.
I mean, we highlighted the key picks in that fight. We said Aphelios would be cool if it's able to find that pick option, but the Rumble was the thing we said first, right? This Rumble, like, how is he going to play with the comp? And we can see from the damage charts there, pretty well. Yeah, pretty good performance there, I think maybe you could say.
Like he did a bit of damage.
It's over 1k damage a minute from two members of the team at the same time. Mundo also hit 18k damage, which is more than both carries from Extreme Esports. Staggering, really good performance. And best part about that for Madness is that was their only way to excel in the ladder. Now they find that 2-0, they get to jump up into 4th place, and that puts them in a really good spot coming into next week. So well played to Method to Madness, I think, especially personally. Shouts to Cat. I think you played fantastically in both games there. I think if you play meta junglers, you might even have a better time.
Well, maybe not though, because maybe this is the new meta. I'm saying I still want to see the Z.
Maybe, yeah.
I still want to see the Z. It's definitely strong. Qiyana did look very powerful. Obviously the talent looked pretty good as well.
Katam was darling on the Qiyana.
But it's definitely the Qiyana. I feel like definitely the Qiyana over the talent. I think the Qiyana looked very, very strong. So we'd definitely want to see that one again. Maybe try out the Z just in case you ever wanted to feel that one out. But all in all, I think it's first of all, commiserations over to Extreme. I think that they actually had some decent plays, especially in game one. Obviously, game two was just a bit of a blowout, but it's a sentiment where I will say that I think Madness kind of just picked so much random stuff that it's almost hard to play against this team, because it's like, what do these champions do, bro? Like you said, we haven't seen Rumble mid in long. It's not something you play against normally. We barely see Qiyana jungle. Like, okay, Mundo is a little bit more in the mainstream, so that's pretty normal. But
I mean, a movement support as well.
A movement support, pretty new. There's just so many picks that it's just kind of like, what do they do? How much damage do they have? It's just kind of like, I don't know. And then Method to Madness is like this much, bam, and they just kill you. And it's like,
exactly.
What the hell?
It's exactly how the bleeding started as well, because it wasn't these like team-wide rotations. It wasn't Katin finding like more. I mean, they did, especially in game two, right? But it was these kind of individual picks being like, oh, I didn't expect that, and now I just died twice. Like, oh shit, like, oh, a Mumu CC'd me for 5 seconds in a 10-second rotation at level 4. Like, oh, that's cool. That's quirky, and now I'm 0-2 down and 20 CS down, and now
you sound like you have a lot of hate on this Amumu pick.
No. I think it's great. Like, you want to see stuff like this, especially with how League meta continues to diversify and how Riot decides to bless junglers with more and more options to one-shot people. I think
Amumu is going to make a big statement at Worlds. I think it's either ban or picked.
Wow, that's a statement.
Because I just feel like it's so good bot lane. Like, I would like to see more Qiyana. Crazy.
I would like to see more Qiyana.
If that is indeed the case or not, we'll be finding out as soon as Worlds will be happening. But for now, we will wish you a beautiful night. Thank you so much for casting, Mr. Oak, and JVL, of course. And everybody for tuning in and giving us those great games. We're gonna go raid Daddy Shroud. He's playing a new game, so it's the only stream I could find. But yeah, if you ever wanted to be rated, just drop us your name in Twitch chat in the future. Of course, you have to be live for that. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the games as much as we did. And with that being said, good night and see you on Friday, 7 PM CST.